Hey guys, so today I have a crazy current events video for you guys. I haven't done one of these in a long time, but if you're unfamiliar with these, basically I have a whole series on these and I'll have the playlist at the end if you guys want to watch through it. But if you guys enjoy these videos, do drop a like on them. It does help me make more content like this. I want to react to more stories like this, but basically what I do is I find stories that interest me, and then I give my opinion on them and break them down and talk about what I think of the whole thing. And this story really caught my attention the other day, which was from Kotaku, and it says overworked GameStop employees walk out, tell gamers to shop elsewhere. GameStop employees employee walkouts even as meme stock soars. And this is apparently a picture of the store, and this is a picture of the note that the GameStop employees left. So 4 employees quit, and they left this note here. So let's read the note. Attention GameStop patrons. We regret to inform you that we all quit. Our district manager has no respect for us as employees or as human beings. We have been told by our district manager that we were supposed to have this store achieving sales quotas and running perfectly 6 months ago, which was 3 months before a lot of us even got hired. Unfortunately, despite the staff's best efforts, we are not God. For all of your gaming needs, please visit Entertain Mart, located right next to Spencer's here at Gateway Mall. Gamers, Game Room. Spend your money at an establishment that respects its employees. Sincerely, former GameStop team. So they left this note, they quit, they're never working for GameStop again, and I don't blame these workers. I don't at all. I've never worked at GameStop, but I've heard horror stories about how this company just treats its employees, and just the amount of stuff that they push on you. Like, when you go to GameStop, and they ask you if you want to sign up for a power membership program. Do you want some kind of protection plan on this? They're constantly pushing you. They're constantly trying to sell stuff for you. And don't blame the employees when you go to a place like this, because the employees are told to do all of this stuff. When I worked in retail, we would tell people, we were told constantly by management to just greet everybody that comes in the door repeatedly. We cannot miss one person, even if they come in as groups. We have to constantly greet everyone. We have to constantly ask people if they want to sign up for the store card. We have to ask customers if they want to give their email for the rewards program. So constantly like that, and customers get pissed off when you ask them that. And I had customers get pissed off at me for asking these questions, but I don't ask these questions, I get in trouble. Thankfully, I haven't been working in retail for almost 3 years at this point. I'm just so grateful to get out of that environment. But I know a little bit about what this is like. I know about how managers and district managers can be, how they constantly push stuff on you. But anyways, let's read some of the story right here. The GameStop in the Gateway Mall in Lincoln, Nebraska is one of the busiest around, at least according to the person who used to run it. If it's in a mall, it's a GameStop, it's going to be busy. People are going to be going through the mall, they're going to be shopping for, clothes, other stuff. See a game store, see, any deals on games, they're going to walk in. Game stores are almost always busy in a mall. But over the weekend, it was closed after 4 employees decided to walk out and never return over what he says are bad working conditions and a verbally abusive district manager. It's the second time this year a GameStop in the area saw its entire staff resign in protest. Well, I didn't read the story about the first store, but I'm not surprised this is the second time that this has happened. And if a GameStop store like this loses 4 employees, that's pretty much the vast majority of the staff. That store cannot run anymore. It's not uncommon anyone to walk up to a GameStop and see a sign that says the store is temporarily closed while employees are on lunch or a bathroom break. Overworked and understaffed, sometimes there's only one person working the entire store, leaving them with no other option. On Sunday, the makeshift sign outside the Gateway Mall, GameStop said something different. So about this, I'm a little familiar with this as well. I have, in the retail store that I used to work in, there was a pharmacy department, and the pharmacy department had clear hours on when they would go on break, so they can't, make prescriptions for people. And, this was clearly advertised. There was clearly signs on when the pharmacy would go on break, but yet, guess what? Customers would constantly complain. Why are they on break now? I want my medication and all this other stuff. Well, if you read the signs and you would have looked at the policies, you would have known that the staff are supposed to be on break at this time. So even though there's signs constantly, customers are very demanding, and customers oftentimes they think that the people that work at these stores, they think that the people are robots. They think that people have no right to a break and that they should constantly be staying there and constantly be serving them. So I've seen customers that get irritated because somebody's on break. I've even had it happen where I get stopped on break, where I just clock out, walk into the break room, customer stops me, tell them I'm on break, they say they don't care. That happens. That has happened. It's happened also to other coworkers of mine. So, just know that just even when they have signs like this up, a lot of times customers they don't care, or they just don't read. And also about the understaffing is A lot of stores are severely understaffed. That's what a lot of customers do not understand that. And the thing is though, whenever you walk into a store, whether it's a supermarket or, a retail store, and you see massive lines, like really, really long lines, the reason for those long lines are usually one of two things. It's usually one customer that holds up the line, causes a scene, and is doing something stupid, that's arguing with the cashier constantly, and then a line builds up. Or the second reason is that they're understaffed, or it might be even both. But that's basically what happens. Stores are constantly understaffed. Why are stores constantly understaffed? The reason stores are constantly understaffed is because corporate is greedy. Corporate is literally goes crazy with hours. They will constantly cut people's hours, and basically, when a store like, that I worked at, I would say basically like, if you had, 5 people working that day, you had, a supervisor, you had 2 people on register, 2 people on floor, you could do everything no problem and help each other out. But oftentimes it wasn't that. Oftentimes either 3 or 2 people working. That's what it was a lot of times like at the store that I used to work at. And one time I had it happen where the corporate, they were so ridiculous and they cut so many hours that they only put 2 people on for an 8-hour shift. And the store that I worked at was in a shopping plaza. So you can, and this was, in the afternoon. So, and on a weekend. So you can imagine there's a lot of, the store is extremely busy. And it was me and another supervisor. And the supervisor that I actually worked with, he would not help a lot of times. And so I was the only person on the register. I would call him. Sometimes he would help. Sometimes he wouldn't. And I would have this huge line building up. And I'd have customers giving me angry looks. I'd have customers getting pissed off at me. And they say, I'm going to complain to corporate about you. Like, just dumb stuff like that. It's like, it's not my fault that the store is understaffed. These customers are oftentimes so stupid and they're so idiotic because if you want to blame somebody for the understaffing, you want to blame somebody for the long lines, don't blame the people at the store. They're only doing their job. They're moving as quickly as they possibly can. And a lot of times these store employees, they're just paid minimum wage. They're paid minimum wage or a little bit above minimum wage. You can't, what I've always been baffled about is I've been baffled that these corporations basically expect 5-star service for minimum wage. I'm not saying that employees are going to be crap. That's not what I'm saying for minimum wage. I always put in effort whenever I worked, and I worked a little bit above minimum wage, but you're not going to get 5-star professional service paying people either minimum wage or a little bit above minimum wage. But that's what these large corporations did not seem to understand at a lot of times. But like I said, if these customers really wanted to complain to somebody, instead of complaining to the store, they call up corporate and then they make complaints about the employees of the store. They should instead complain directly to corporate and make complaints about corporate because they're the one that are setting the hours constantly. But let's read more into this story on Gamestop. We regret to inform you that we all quit. The piece of paper taped to the front door read, a photo of which was shared on the Lincoln subreddit that day. It went on, our district manager has no respect for us as employees or as human beings. We have been told by our district manager that we were supposed to have this store achieving sales quotas and running perfectly 6 months ago, which was 3 months before a lot of us even got hired. Unfortunately, despite the staff's best efforts, we are not God. Now about this, I understand this as well. Basically, the district managers that my store had my store had two district managers, and I didn't work for GameStop, by the way. It's just a retail store. But the store that I worked at had 2 district managers, and both of the district managers were scumbags. Oftentimes, district managers are scumbags. They're very unreasonable. And the first district manager, what he would constantly do is, it was just so irritating. What he would do is he would come into the store. He would come in on the sales floor. We would do our best to clean up the store to make it look perfect as best as possible, face the aisles, clean up the store. The district manager would come in and say, the store's looking great, guys. You guys are doing great. And he would say this all on the sales floor. And I think he would say it because the public was there. And then what would happen is, an hour later, when he gets back to his office, he sends this big, long email to the supervisors with the most foul language ever, just constantly cursing at people, telling them that they don't know what they're doing and that they need to get their crap together. So just cursing out employees, cursing out supervisors. And I had this one district manager that I remember, the second one, and basically what happened is I worked night shifts a lot of times on truck, usually once a week. And even working that once a week, I would work day shifts the other days, but the other days I would that one day a week I would work the truck night. And that one day a week working the truck night would literally even destroy your health, because you're outside, no matter what the conditions are, even if it's even if it's literally really cold, wintry conditions, outside unloading this huge heavy truck, and you have massive amounts of pallets. You got to get all these boxes in, so much heavy lifting, take it all in the store, unbox all of it, put all the product on the aisles, then send all the overstock downstairs, organize it, take all the garbage boxes out, and sometimes you would not even finish all of the boxes. You wouldn't finish all of it, and then the next day you'd have customers complain, and then you would have management that would get on you and say, "Why did you not finish this the previous day when you're working a truck night?" And literally, you only have like 3 people on truck when you should be having 5 people on truck. So that happened a lot of times. It was a bit ridiculous. And I told my manager, my manager was a decent guy. He's a pretty nice guy, and he tried to do right by us, but his hands were tied with just corporate and the scummy district manager. And I told my manager, can you please ask, the district manager, if we're going to be working night shifts and we're going to be unloading this huge heavy truck, that day that we work, can we please get time and a half? Because if we're unloading this huge heavy truck, and, we're doing all this effort, all this heavy lifting, we're sweating, we're breaking our backs, can we please get some extra money for that? It would make it more fair. And the manager kind of agreed with me. He said, yeah, that's a good point. I'll try to talk to the district manager about it. And I knew that nothing was going to happen. But I still tried to talk to the manager, and I still tried to get the manager to do something. And I told the manager, if the district manager, if she says no, then ask her, what's the point of working on a truck night? Why should somebody want to work a truck night if they're not getting time and a half? Because nothing against the people that worked on the day shift, but there were certain people that would not work truck nights, and they would work on a day shift. They'd be on the register, which is, it's not an easy job. People think working on a cash register is easy, but comparing that to truck is much harder. And I said, I didn't think that was fair, and I said, tell her that if we're not going to get time and a half on these truck nights, then what's the point of even wanting to work on a truck night? And manager gets back to me after he had his meeting with the district manager, and he tells me that she said the incentive is you get more hours. That is the incentive, apparently. So yeah, the incentive is you want to work a little bit above minimum wage, unloading this huge heavy truck, doing all this heavy lifting, and relating this to the GameStop thing, the point is, these district managers are very unreasonable. They're stupid. They sit in their corporate offices a lot of times. They don't understand how the actual store works. Some of them did start out as managers, but a lot of times they're completely out of touch with what the store needs. Managers should have more authority, a little bit more authority. I know the district managers above them. The managers should be able to do more right by the workers, control hours better. That would make these companies run better. But you have these bureaucrats that just sit in their offices and they have no idea what they're doing. They're screwing over their workers, hurting their employees, constantly with just their dumb policies. And in regards to this with the the GameStop district manager, it's probably like basically what probably happened here. My prediction is that they probably had a certain amount of memberships that they had to sign up for. I haven't been to a GameStop in a long time, but what's it called, guys? Somebody probably knows in the comments. The Power Up Rewards thing, right? That's what it's called, the little membership card for GameStop. It was probably that. That's probably what had happened. There was probably they were probably telling their employees, we want you to get customers to sign up for these power membership rewards cards, whatever they are, and there's probably quotas on that. And they were checking how much each employee gets people to sign up for. A lot of times people don't care about this. They just come in, they pick up a game, and they just want to get out. And so they say no. And how corporate sees it is corporate sees it that this employee does not have that many people signing up for it, so there must be something wrong with the employee. That is oftentimes the way corporates see this. I can relate this a lot to, there was an email program in my store, and we had to constantly try to get customers to give their email, to get coupons and other offers, and we would constantly have to recommend customers. So whenever a customer would scan their store card, you get a little pop-up on the register that would say that they're not signed up for email. And if you hit no on that, then it also registers it that you did not get a customer for that. If you hit yes and you get their email, registers that you got a customer. And basically what happened was I had gotten a lot of customers to sign up. I convinced a lot of customers to sign up. I kind of regretted it, but I convinced a lot of customers to sign up for it. And basically my manager told me that you're going to get a good reward for this, Patrick. You're doing really good. I got recognized, which is basically like getting recognized as like employee of the month. It's pretty much that. And you know what the manager ends up giving me? Ends up giving me a $5 store card. Not even joking. That was apparently my reward for getting customers to sign up for the email membership program. And at that point, I just stopped collecting emails. And when I stopped collecting emails, they got on my case. I had the assistant manager. I had the manager get on my case. This is the rude manager that I had. The second manager didn't really do this to me, but the first manager that I had, he got on my case afterwards on that. I didn't really say much to it, but going back now, I should have said that you gave me a $5 gift card. That was my reward. Why should I even do this work? But back then, I didn't know how to stand up for myself, and I had people roll all over me for this, so I can completely relate. I know what GameStop employees go through, this type of crap, this type of retail environment. And the really sad thing about this is that a lot of times customers don't care. They don't care how the employees are treated at the store. Even if they knew 100%, they wouldn't care. That's the really sad thing about this, because a lot of the customers were very demanding at the store that I worked at, and they saw how we were running around. Some of them cared, I could tell, but a lot of them did not care. But if you've ever worked in retail, or if you've ever worked in a food industry, if you ever worked in any kind of industry dealing with customers, chances are you're almost never going to be rude and demanding, because you know the amount of effort that the work that they have to do, constantly running around, getting their hours cut. But that's it. They got hired 3 months before it, and they were given us, a quota that they had to hit within 6 months. So that's, they're telling them they have 6 months, but they only got hired 3 months before that. So they have now their quotas is in 3 months. That's not fair. But I'll tell you something else. How these district managers, they don't know how to run stores. The district manager, remember, he had a company meeting with us. We had just a bunch of chairs in the store, downstairs in the basement of the store. And district manager one time would just say about, and I brought this up to my manager about it, and my manager knew I was right. He knew I was right, but he said, don't bring it up, because it's just going to cause problems. But I respected what my manager told me. This is the nicer manager, by the way. And what happened was the district manager basically did a meeting with us, and he started saying how we're not hitting sales. We have less customers coming in, and he was trying to blame it on us. He was saying that our competition is getting more sales and all this other stuff. And he was basically just trying to blame it on us. But the thing about it is that our customer service was really good. We went above and beyond to help customers. But that's what corporate did not understand. Corporate, for some reason, in their minds, they think that superb customer service is the only reason that customers will shop there. That's not the only, I could go to a store that has terrible customer service. If I know where the item is, I'm just going to go and get the item and just leave. A lot of customers don't rely on that much customer service. Do you know what customers care the most about when they're shopping at a store? Way more than customer service, prices. That's what they care about. And we had a big supermarket that opened right next to our store. Even though we were a retail store, we did sell some food and some other stuff that the supermarket had. And that supermarket right next to us, they sold items for way cheaper than us. Like our store, the items were way more overpriced. They were way more pricey. And that is the reason that we lost customers. It wasn't because of the customer service. And that supermarket did not have the same customer service they did. They had worse. But even though they had worse customer service, they had better prices. And that's ultimately what people cared about. So corporate coming in, blaming the workers in my store, saying we're losing sales because of your customer service when we already had good customer service. No, it's because you're being stupid. It's because of your dumb prices. You have everything overpriced. And for people wondering, my store did not price match. So I know this was the reason. I had customers come in, they did returns, and they would just say, I would ask them what the reason for the return was, and they would say the supermarket gave me a better deal. And that was it. I didn't blame them at all. I wrote that down in the notes. I wrote it down in the notes every time when a customer said that. They never did anything about it. They refused to price match. That was the company's policy. That was the reason the company was losing money. It wasn't because of some customer service. So I got kind of irritated when the district manager was doing that. And I wanted to say that to the district manager, it's your prices that's doing it. But apparently I wasn't allowed to say that. But that's just how stupid these district managers are. They're really dumb. They're out of touch. And this is exactly what I think happened here. I think that this district manager at this GameStop, he was he or she was pushing, membership programs, pushing other things to sign up for. The employees weren't hitting those targets, and he would probably come down hard on the manager, and then the manager would then relate that back to the employees. I don't know whether the manager quit here. It just says district manager. District manager is not at the store. He's usually at a corporate office. But district manager covers a bunch of stores in an area. So that's at least what I think. I know I'm going off a little bit on my stories here, but it's basically just to explain what these environments are like, and what the employees go through a lot of times. But you're getting paid a little bit of a minimum wage, and you get constantly yelled at. You're told you should be doing this and that. Why are you not hitting your quotas? It's like eventually everybody has their limits. Even the nicest people have their limits, and they say no, we're done. That's it. But let's see if we have any more info here. we do have a little bit of what the employees said. Let's read what the employees said. For my health, I had to leave. Frank Maurer, the store's recently promoted manager. Okay, so the manager. Okay, so I like this manager. This is already the signs of a good manager. It looks like he had the back of his employees. That he also left. The stress and anxiety were so bad he had trouble sleeping. It wasn't even enjoying games anymore. He said he only started working there in late 2021, and while at first it was fun, it quickly turned into a nightmare between the lack of resources. Just like I said, lack of resources, understaffing, and management strict quotas, stupid district managers. To put up with, Maurer said he was paid $17 an hour, just $2 over the entry-level rate in a nearby Target. Damn. While those under him made only $9, Nebraska's minimum wage. Oh my God! Now the reason I'm literally saying oh my God at this is because he's not a supervisor. He's the store's manager. He's running the store. And for running the store, he's only getting paid $17 an hour. This is exactly what I was talking about. You know, companies pay their employees these wages, and they expect that they're going to be getting 5-star services. You know, there are way easier jobs that you could get for $17 an hour. Not like, not going through like stress like this. Like, oh man. And this is, and going back to my retail stories, this is exactly the reason on why I never took a promotion. I was asked by management several times at my retail store if I wanted a promotion to supervisor. They wanted to promote me several times to supervisor, but I constantly said no. I constantly refused. Why would I refuse a promotion? The reason I refused a promotion is because the raise was only like $2 more an hour. That was literally what the raise was. And for that extra $2 an hour, I had way more responsibility because previously as the cashier, you know, I was responsible for cleaning up as the store. I was responsible for putting a product down the aisles, responsible for customer service, running the register. But now I'd be responsible for all of that other stuff, but also I'd be responsible for opening and closing the store, counting the money, directly dealing with customer complaints, managing truck night, talking with the truck driver, trying to get everything in the store. No thank you. You know, for just an extra $2 an hour, I'm not going to be doing all that effort. I'm not going to be doing all that extra work. That's not worth it. That's why I never took the promotion. Because yes, I'd be getting a little bit more money, but it just would not be worth the extra labor. It wouldn't. You know, if you want to promote somebody to supervisor, a supervisor or a manager, it shouldn't be like a $2 an hour increase. It should, in my opinion, it should probably be around $10 or more. You know, and that store that I was working at, they were making way more than above budget. So, you know, for people that say that like stores a lot of times cannot afford this, I don't believe that. Like my store was making a lot of money, it was doing really well, and yet the wages were always crap. But he also claimed he was never properly trained by the company in any of the new responsibilities he was given as manager, nor given the resources and time to train others at the store. At one point, he said he had to work over 2 weeks straight with no days off just to keep the store functioning. Oh my God. This is I can totally relate to this. I know exactly what he's talking about here. So basically, when I first started working in retail, we had to go to this stupid company training session, and it was like basically we went to this office and it's a class for 5 hours. You did get paid for the class, to be fair, but the class basically taught me nothing. No skills whatsoever for the store. Nothing. That entire class, the whole 5 hours of that class were basically just talking about customer service. Just being nice to customers, which should be common sense. That's what they did in those full 5 hours. And then when I first started working, instead of me being allowed to come in, before the store opens, like maybe like an hour or two before the store opens, showing me how to do everything. No, instead they put me right when the store opens. I did have this nice girl that helped teach me, other employee, teach me how to use the cash register and do the other stuff. But then I had to do a lot of stuff on my own. I had to figure out a lot of other stuff. I had to figure out actually how to do returns. Nobody taught me how to do returns. They didn't. And so I actually had to press a lot of the different buttons to figure out where the return thing was. And then I had to figure out actually how to do the return. I trained myself how to do a return because nobody else showed me. I was never taught how to open up the coupon machine. There was a specific way to open up the coupon machine, change the cartridges that would print the coupons. Never taught how to do that. I eventually had to figure out a lot of it on my own. I had some people show me some things along the way. And the photo machine, I did eventually learn how to do that. One person eventually taught me how to do that, but it took me at least a year or two. So there's a lot of things that they didn't teach me to do. And every single time I tried to ask management, I said, can you please teach me how to do some of this stuff? They would say later, later, I don't have time right now, I don't have time. And then what would happen is, then guess what? That same management would then call me and say, Patrick, we got somebody on a photo, I need you to help with them. And I say, I don't know how to do photo. Like, how do you not know how to do photo? You've already been working here for months. That is literally the exact attitude that you get. They run around, they don't teach you how to do stuff, and then they get pissed off when you don't know how to do stuff that they refuse to teach you. That is exactly the type of stuff that happens here. And working for 2 weeks, I've never worked for 2 weeks straight with no days off, but I did work like 1 week, 1 week straight. And one day I finally wanted to have, I was supposed to be working 3-4 days that week, and what ended up happening was I ended up covering an extra 3 days, so probably like around a week, 6 or 7 days that I was working straight. I wanted to eventually hang out with my friends. I talked to my friends. I say, hey guys, you want to do something because I haven't seen them in some time. And we made plans. We're going to hang out. Manager calls me, tells me that somebody called out again and he needs me to come in right now. It wasn't even, and this is the first manager that I had, the rude one, because my second manager was a decent guy who changed a lot of stuff around. But this is, early on when I was working. And what happened was I told my manager, I'm not coming in today. He was demanding that I come in. It wasn't even, hey, Patrick, can you please come in? It would mean a lot to me. No, it was always, I need you to come in right now. And I'd say, no, I made plans with my friends. He tells me, cancel the plans with your friends. I said, no, I'm not coming in today. And he says, you're not coming in? I said, no. And then he tells me that I suck. He literally says to me that I suck, and he hangs up on me. That's literally how my first manager treated me. So I get this. I understand this. And this is like a lot of people, they shop at these stores, and they don't realize how much of a nightmare it is working in these stores. People think that it's all easy. Working in retail, it's just a joke. It's an easy job, and they think that it doesn't require much effort. But they don't understand how much corporate, these district managers just destroy the staff, destroy their morale, and just hurt them. When I asked for support, I was met with silence, Mars said. Then there was a district manager whom he accused of routinely threatening and dressing down staff or their failure to meet impossible goals. He was abusive verbally. Like I said about district managers, Mars said he would constantly threaten people's jobs. Yup, I've seen that happen. The staff would be told they could be easily replaced by other college kids, part of a ceaseless churn and burn mentality that Mars said was part of why the store was struggling to meet its unrealistic quotas. All he sees are numbers in a computer. Exactly. He sits in his office, district manager, is just stupid. Does not understand how the store actually works. And wrapping up the article, it says that it's become disheartening, Mars said. Employees hate the investors. They're furious people putting money into the company with no care for how it treats people. Like I said, a lot of times people don't care about, unfortunately, how the companies actually treat the employees. They just care about getting the product or making some kind of return on their investment. That is just, I think that people should research that. I think people should look into that more. I even feel bad. I feel bad buying stuff from Amazon a lot of times. I do. And I buy my costumes mainly for Amazon. I need them for my playthroughs because Amazon is really good for my costumes. But at the same time, I feel bad. I guess I might be a hypocrite in that regard because I just know just how bad Amazon just treats its employees. And it says, so he decided to quit, and when the other employees at the store heard he was done, they all decided to leave too, Mars said. He would have left earlier, but was afraid of walking away. I didn't want all of my passion and effort to be wasted, he said, but despite the time he sank, he ultimately still felt tossed aside like a wet paper towel. This company inspires managers to be hard to their workers. So that's ultimately what happened is, according to the end of the article, Mara was basically the spark that ignited the walkout. So they had like a lot of problems building up, and Mara at that point basically said, "Nope, I'm done with this. I'm not going to take this anymore. I can't work here anymore in these conditions." And he quit. And it looks like he was really good friends with the rest of the staff. And so they saw their friend quit, and they just said, if my friend's going, I'm going too. I'm done with this. And this happens a lot in companies. A lot of people don't realize how much this happens. Some employees develop a really big bond with each other working over the years, and literally they see somebody get mistreated and walk out, they'll follow the other guy right out the door. This happens. This is common. My second manager, after I ended up quitting, I quit in like September of 2019, and then sometime early mid 2020. My manager, he ended up leaving. A lot of people respected him. This is the second manager, by the way, because the first manager, I just want to make that clear. The first manager was, so people don't get confused, the first manager was kind of, rude, nasty. I didn't like him. Second manager was more of a nice guy and reasonable guy. He ends up going to a different store. He ended up working for a different company, and that other company, he got a job as a manager there. And that company treated him way better, was way more understanding, way more reasonable, and he got a lot of the employees to actually go over there with him. So a lot of the employees followed him over there, and he hired them too. So that was, there's bonds developed between coworkers and good management, not bad management, but good management. So that's pretty much it. I know I went a bit of a rant on my stories here, but I feel very personal about this story. This story also, this story makes me feel a certain way because I understand this fully, and so I get a little emotional with this stuff because I remember very similar crap that I dealt with just working in a retail environment. It's very similar to a lot of stores, and GameStop is not a store that treats its employees well. I would recommend if you're gonna buy games, go to a local game store. I've even seen like videos on YouTube where local game stores offer people better deals, and they buy your games for better prices than GameStop actually does. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down below, and if you enjoyed these videos, do drop a like. I want to make more like these, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone.